How's it going, buddy? Welcome back to Elvis Junction Reviews. Today we're looking at another Athearn Genesis product. We are looking at an Athearn Genesis Canadian Pacific ES44 number 8703. Now this is the retrucked version, and as you see I bought it from Hiawatha Hobbies for a very large sum of money. But let's not waste any time and get it out of its lovely Genesis box. Hope everybody's having a good day today. So you can see we have an operator's manual with a sound guide as well for the Evolution series. Has a little bit of history about this locomotive, so we will go into that a little bit more. I have gone into history about this locomotive, but it wasn't really it wasn't exactly super detailed, but we will get into whatever the history of the locomotive says in that little diagram thing. Here is the Horizon Hobby extended warranty paper. Here's another sign up for Athearn News. We've already done that. And we have the sheet to fill out if it does break for that warranty. We have a foam sheet covering the plastic here. And let's just slide it out of the plastic box there. There we go. Lovely job. And you can see it's nice and protected inside this plastic cradle. Pull the blister off. Take that piece of foam off. Open the clamshell. As it, come on, squeaks out of there. We have a clear plastic sheet covering the locomotive to protect it from the clamshell's plastic. Let's just pull it out of there. Very nice. Take the clamshell, move that out of the way. And try to get this foam out without knocking any of the handrails out of their sockets. There we go. It's one. And come on, it's not wanting to cooperate. There we go. And there is two. All right. So now let's get into some history. And now onto some history. Early in the 20th century, General Electric made its entry into the railroad industry by supplying electrical components such as generators, traction motors, and electrical control gear to existing companies such as Alco. These early successes would spur them to eventually offer designs of their own, such as the familiar 44-tonner and 70-ton light switcher models. Testing the waters further, GE built a pair of road unit demonstrators in 1956, designated XP24. This would accumulate with the domestic introduction of their revolutionary U series of road locomotives in 1961. One locomotive that stood out in particular was the pioneering U25B, which promised better performance and reliability compared to their contemporaries. The success of the U series would give GE a presence in the highly competitive domestic locomotive market, and as the years progressed, GE would continue to refine their designs. The 1970s brought about the Dash 7 series, introduced in 1976, which was superseded by the Dash 8 line in 1984. The Dash 9 series of 1993, starting with the Dash 9 44CW, introduced further improvements in terms of computer controls and performance, and most importantly, the introduction of AC traction technology with the AC44CW model. This offered even greater tractive effort and performance in comparison to previous direct current DC traction designs. The overwhelming success of these models set the stage for the next advance in GE's locomotive design. The GE Evolution series, or GEVO, introduced in 2002, the AC traction ES44AC and DC traction ES44DC were designed to meet the even greater diesel locomotive emission standards imposed by the EPA to replace the venerable FDL series prime movers that powered previous models. A new prime mover design, the 12-cylinder GEVO 12, was created. Despite having 4 fewer cylinders, it produces the same 4,400 horsepower as the F7 FDL 16 prime movers found in the predecessor Dash 9 and AC44s. Externally, the ES44AC and the ES44DC are nearly identical, sharing the same overall platform, with relatively minor differences in access panels and intake grills. However, during a relatively short period of time these models have been produced, both have undergone numerous minor external changes implemented by GE, such as the differences in radiator intake and exhaust grills, dynamic brake housing, handrail stanchions, nose door placement, and so on. As of the writing, according to this series of this paper, BNSF Railway, Canadian Pacific, and Union Pacific are the only operators of this type of locomotive, ES44AC. Now, I don't exactly know how accurate that is, but in terms of ES44 series, the CP owns 261 of these locomotives, which is not as much as some of the other class ones, but it's still a good number. All right, so now let's get into some detail, starting with the front. Alrighty, so we are currently looking at the front of the locomotive and starting at the top, working our way down the bottom as we always do. Starting at the top here, on the top of the cab, we have a grab iron right here. You will notice that there are no number boards on the forehead. They are down here on the nose. Right underneath here, we have our 4 separately applied windshield wipers in our 2-window cab. Moving down here to the actual nose of the locomotive, let's focus in on the nose here. We have a set of grab irons that are right here, and there's one up here on the top of the nose. We have 2 sand filler hatches, one right here and one right here. Here is our forward mounted headlight right here. And here are some grab irons that work their way from the top of the nose down to the walkway. Here's a grab iron on the side of the door, and there's a window on the door as well. Here are our number boards. They do not light up when the locomotive is in motion, which is a shame, but oh well, at least the lights do. Here is our CP logo. And that little hole right there is the walkway light that unfortunately does not light up when the locomotive, it just doesn't light up. We have our walkway grabs right here, our step ladder grabs. Here are our ditch lights, if we can focus on our ditch lights right here. Yes, here we have 2 ditch lights that do operate when the locomotive is in motion. We have our coupler cut bar right here that works on the underside of this MU cable. And this is the anti-climber, by the way. Here is our plow, nice big snow plow. 3 MU cables on either side of the plow here. And there are 2 air brakes, one right here and one right here. And here is our Athearn coupler. Alrighty, so now let's get into that rear detail. Alrighty, so now we're looking at the rear of the locomotive. At the top here, we have our rear mounted headlight that does operate when the locomotive is backing up. We have some numbers right here, 8703 on either side. There is our sand filler hatch. We have 2 grab irons that are vertical on the side of the locomotive here. Here is a sticker to indicate that there is a fire extinguisher behind this door right here. We have our grab irons right here again, some more safety ladders and holdings, all that. Here's our coupler cut bar right here, another MU cable and a MU cable holder, that thing right here. There is an MU socket right as well. We have 2 spare knuckles, one right here and one right here, and as you will see that they have an F and an E to indicate which direction they need to go on, so the front or the end of the locomotive. 3 MU cables, once again, on either side of the coupler, right here and right here. An air brake hose right here, another air brake hose right here, and there is our Athearn coupler. All right, so now let's get into some detail with the side. Alrighty, so before we actually get into this side detail, I want to explain something about this locomotive. Back when 8703 was built, she was built with GE's steerable trucks. I really don't know the exact logistics of how that worked, but eventually she was taken into the shops and given the high adhesion trucks that were more preferred. Anyway, with our side detail, right down here right behind the walkway ladder here, we have a big F to indicate that this is the front of the locomotive. Up here, right below the side windows, we have 8703, and you can see this is an ES44AC, so it has AC traction. Here is the Canadian Pacific's designation of this locomotive, a DRF44. Moving along here, so we have some more stuff for the AC traction. Here's an electrical box right here. Here are the jack pads for lifting the locomotive up. Right down here is the mechanical bell. This is one of the earlier models, so it had a mechanical bell as opposed to an E-bell of more modern, like for example, the UP locomotive that we did review, the Scale Trains one, that had an E-bell. Here's our very massive fuel tank and our lovely Canadian Pacific logo right there. And as you can see, there are grab irons that work their way from from the bottom of the walkway up to the roof here. And there is our cast wax K5HL, I believe. And there's the exhaust right there. Moving along as we work our way, there's the brake wheel right there it's basically a parking brake. And here is our rear high adhesion. And if it looks like, no, those do not roll. Those roller end cap bearings do not roll. And as you can see, I didn't mention this when we were looking at the rear, you can see there's a bit of a problem here. As you can see, that's not supposed to happen. And I have pushed down on it to try to get it to go down, but unfortunately it will not go down, so I'm going to have to take a few points off. So that will definitely affect the my overall opinion of this locomotive. Moving on to the engineer's side. Oh, and I also forgot to mention really quickly, there is a dash cam right in there. Moving on here to the engineer's side. Pretty much the same on the other side, except for this little plaque here to indicate some stats and facts about the locomotive. As we move along this way, here we can see the air brake reservoirs right here. That's where the air is stored in there for the air brakes. And as we move along here, we have some more details, including this right here. I'm not exactly sure what that is. Please let me know if you do know what it is. And once again, we have another Canadian Pacific logo, and there's a jack pad right there. All right, so now let's get to some roof detail. Okie dokie, so now we're looking at the roof of the locomotive here, the top if you want to call it that. Starting above the cab here, we have a GPS satellite dome right here. I'm not sure what this is. If you could please explain what this antenna looking dome is. I believe these are vertical antenna array strips. As we move the locomotive forward, as you can see, we have our radiator section and our horn, as well as our exhaust port right there. I also want to point out something about the radiator section here. You can just hear it. That's not supposed to be making noise, which indicates to me that they are not fastened down properly, so I have to take a few points off of that. All right, so now let's get into the sound demo. Alrighty, so we now currently have our locomotive here on the test track, and let's get it powered up right now. We have a classic GE startup tread noise. Alright, so pressing 0 on our Digitrax controller puts the headlight on, as you can see right there, just kind of there. Button 5 is the digital lights. Number 1 here is the bell. Nice metal bell, as opposed to an E-bell. If you remember, this is one of the earlier G-bells, so it still has the mechanical bell as opposed to the E-bells of the later models. Button 2 is a long horn. And button number 3 is a short horn. So we can do, if you're really skilled about this, you can do the crossing sequence, if you want to see the next picture here. Needs a little bit of work, but I'm just a novice at this. I just got this controller, so it's brand new. So let's throw it into forward here, and you'll see it kind of walk off the frame here. Slow speed. When I say slow speed, I mean 10% speed. There you go, there it is right there. As we reverse it, you will notice that the front and headlight and ditch lights are off, because the rear headlight and the back of the locomotive is on. I can slowly move it here. Put that bell on, because now we're going to there it is. Change my mind, let's see. Alright. So we're back in reverse here to get it. And yeah, as far as I'm aware, there aren't really, I don't have a controller that can show off all the big features, so I am obviously showing you the basics. Alright, so now let's get into my final thoughts. So overall I have to give this locomotive like a solid A-. It would have been an A+ if the radiator wasn't bent up and the actual grates on the top of the radiator weren't kind of out of whack, if I want to say that. But as you heard from the sound, it sounded really great. It didn't kill my ears like the ACU did. I need to find a way to turn that one's volume down. I guess I'll have to program to turn it down. But this one, it sounds great, and it's still, regardless of the other two problems, it looks really great. So, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Also, subscribe if you have not, and hit the notification bell to know when I upload. I upload on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, hit the notification bell to see what I have to upload next. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.